Hey guys, so today's tag video, I'm going to do the scariest things tag. I'm sitting because I'm lazy today, and I'm wearing my sweet Scream sweater in honor of this. So, I'm going to be reading the questions from my phone, and I'll leave them down below as per usual. Let's get this party started. Okay, so the first one is scariest real life experience. So this isn't anything supernatural, but when I was 13, we were moving from Idaho to Jeff City, Missouri, and we hit an elk on this passway going through, going through Wyoming. It's a pretty bad passway. Actually, when I moved from Idaho back to Missouri again for the second time, our U-Haul broke down. So yeah, it's a bad area for vehicles in general, and it was winter when we hit this giant elk or baby. But yeah, it just completely destroyed the vehicle we were in, and it's pretty scary, and me and my dad were the only ones who were still awake. So we saw the elk and freaked out, and my sister and mom didn't wake up until it was kind of all over. Or in the middle of it. Yeah, and it was night, so that was definitely terrifying. And I had nightmares of that for a really long time, and I still occasionally have nightmares of the poor elk that we hit. Oh, I'm also drinking vegan iced coffee. Sorry. And so that would be my scariest real life incident. Okay, next one, scariest paranormal experience. So I've never really had a full-on paranormal experience necessarily myself. I've definitely had dreams, and then kind of deja vu type situations, where I'll dream of something and then the thing will happen later on. I'm like, oh my god, I had a dream about this. That's freaky. But when I was very young, and this question will actually kind of cover, I was born in Wapakoneta, Ohio, where the first man on the moon is from, Neil Armstrong. But we lived in a very haunted house. I was super scared, really for absolutely no reason. I'm generally just an easily scared person, but there was something in that house I was terrified of. My parents recall situations of hearing little kids laughing when we weren't home. One thing that's kind of freaky is my imaginary friend was a little Asian girl, and this is a small town in Ohio. Most of the people we knew were white, at least in the 90s. That's the way it was. And so yeah, and I would speak what my mom called gibberish, but what often sounded like some sort of other language. But yeah, my best friend was weirdly, somehow my imaginary friend was Japanese, even though I knew no Japanese or any Asian people. Sorry if labeling you all Asians is offensive. But yeah, it was a really weird thing. Yeah, so my parents recall definitely hearing ghosts. Sorry. So yeah, my parents recall ghosts, and I was definitely somehow always terrified of something that was in our room. Have you ever known anyone convicted of a violent crime? Not that I know of. I know people that have been arrested. My dad has told me stories from his teenage years of people he knew, but nobody for a violent crime that I know of, that my parents haven't told me of. Maybe they'll tell me after this if I have. Mom, Dad, if you're watching, do I know anybody that's committed a violent crime? Are you afraid of the dark? Why or why not? So I was extremely afraid of the dark when I was younger. Again, afraid of everything. And I had been for a really long time. I still occasionally have to sleep with a TV on or something on. That's kind of become more of a habit thing. I'm not as scared of the dark as I used to be. I can go into a room if it's dark and I'm fine. I used to be real bad. I'd turn on every single light as I was go from one room to another if it was nighttime. So not as bad as they used to be. But still, some things I do just out of habit. And it depends. If I've been watching a scary movie, then that changes everything. Sorry, Gatsby. Okay. Does your hometown have any scary stories or legends? So for this, I googled one I already kind of knew about. So I googled some stuff. The first one was actually for Lima, Ohio. I kind of just narrowed it down to Lima. And if you are an Ohioan and this is triggering or offensive in any way, I do apologize. This is just the tag and it's what I looked up. So you may want to click away now if you don't want to hear about your town's urban legend. Okay, so there were a couple. The one that I thought was really interesting was called Crybaby Bridge. And it says it's also known as Greeley Capel Bridge, I think that's how that's pronounced, I'm not sure. As it is just outside of Lima, a few miles down some back roads. There are 3 stories associated with this bridge. The first story, the bridge is where a mom and her baby died in an automobile accident at midnight on Halloween night. It is said that if one goes back to the bridge on Halloween night at midnight, you can hear the baby crying and the sound of its rattle. The second story involves the supposed murder of a carload of teenagers. The remains are scattered around the area surrounding the bridge by whatever or whoever killed them. The driver's body was supposedly hung on the stop sign. The stop sign said it's to bleed. Stop sign is said to bleed even after being replaced multiple times. And third, although not as common, some people believe the bridge is a place where you can encounter the famous Bloody Mary. So there were a couple of other ones, but that was kind of the main one that I thought was really interesting. And then for Columbia, where I currently live, there is actually the story of like the babysitter and the man upstairs. Very famous serial killer type thing, Halloween. Babysitter alone in the house, the kids are asleep, man calls, asks if they've checked on them. The whole terrifying spiel actually got started based on something that happened here in Columbia in the 50s. It was framed on a woman was killed, and it was framed on a black gentleman. This was the 50s, and I don't know though, I do believe they eventually found out he was guilty, I'm not sure. I can't really recall, but it was blamed on him and they never really found out who actually killed the person. But that's Columbia's sad story. If you haven't watched, Netflix has a little documentary called Urban Legend, and they cover like 3 or 4, and they include that one in it. So I would highly suggest watching that if you love this kind of stuff. It's awesome. It's done by the same people who did Crosby, I think is what it's called. It's also on Netflix. I would suggest watching that one as well. So both of those are really good. The people that did them were really great. Okay, so, and then what's your favorite urban legend? I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite urban legend. I definitely think like the Bloody Mary things, kind of those, those popular ones that everybody's kind of heard of. One urban legend that I was unaware of was actually one that Shane Dawson talked about in one of his videos, which was shadow people. And it definitely, after watching that, I'm trying to think of words. After watching the Shane Dawson one, and I'll link that video down below, I feel like that definitely explains some of the stuff I was scared of as a child. Yeah, the shadow people one is definitely pretty terrifying, and that was really cool. That one and the Bloody Mary one are also pretty good ones. I definitely suggest, even if you've never watched Supernatural, watch the Supernatural Bloody Mary episode. It's in like the first season, back when they were just like hunting demons. It's a great episode. It's one of my favorites. What's your scariest nightmare? I don't want to talk about it. Because I don't want to have the nightmare again. So when I was younger, I used to have 2 recurring dreams. One was that I was always stuck on a roller coaster, and I'd always get to the same, like, terrifying turn part or whatever, and wake up or the dream would end. That one's not that bad. It's just I hate heights and I hate roller coasters, so that one was terrifying. One that I had a lot when I was very young was a reoccurring dream that one of my neighbors gave me this little doll. I can still see what he's dressed like a little cowboy. And I used to have this reoccurring dream that he was trying to kill me. And then when I was in about my teen years, I had a reoccurring dream for a little while, not for too long, but for a few nights, couple of weeks, I had a reoccurring dream, nightmare, that a little white stuffed Beanie Baby bear was trying to get me. So for a really long time, I mean, I'm a 90s kid, I have tons of Beanie Babies, I collected them, and I still continue to get some of the newer ones. So yeah, when I was in my teens, I had this terrifying dream. So for the longest time, I was scared of the little white ones and wouldn't get any. And then I think I finally stopped having the dream and gave in and got one, and was fine. And I have a couple of the different holiday ones, but for a really long time, I avoided the white Beanie Baby bears, or really any of the Beanie Baby bears, because they terrified me. So that is all. It's just 7 quick questions. Definitely, I'll leave them in the description below. As per usual, I suggest doing this tag. It's fun. It's fun to look up some stuff about my town and what the different places that I've lived. Maybe I'll do some urban legend videos about different places that I've lived and research and film them and see what I find. Definitely give this a like. If you enjoyed it, please leave a nice comment below. If you do decide to do this tag, definitely leave a comment below so that I can check you out. I'll leave my social medias down below as per usual. And you guys stay spooky.